Hello and welcome back to AG the Champion. I'm here to kick off Season 1 of F1 2022 Myteam Career Mode. It's been long overdue, especially since I'm currently playing Season 2 in-game despite having not uploaded a single episode of Season 1. But we are here in the Bahrain Grand Prix with a new car, new team, and of course a brand new set of regulations for the season. The qualifying session was not so good because I spun out and got stuck in the gravel, but hopefully we'll be able to undo that with the race. I'm not sure where the pre-race footage went to, so I'll just get on with the start. I'll be starting from 15th place. I've got a Ferrari ahead of me. That is quite unusual. I do not think he has any penalties. I will try and get a good start and minimize wheel spin. Lights out, off we go. That's a decent start. I'm alongside the Alfa Romeo. Now I'm ahead of him. I tend to throw a dive bomb down into turn 1, but with Joe alongside it will not work out. 4 cars into turn 1 never works. Joe was the first to blink, letting me take the inside line as I brake late. Very clean overtake on my teammate, but there is contact and I have been caught. It's my own teammate pushing me. He has destroyed my floor and spun me around. There is a pile up behind as I'm trying to get out of this mess. It doesn't look like there's much damage to the cars that are caught in this. This is an absolute disaster for us in our first race for the team. I would like to blame Drogovic for this incident, but I could be at fault. Let me know in the comments whose fault you think it is. The safety car has been deployed, so there could possibly be hope for us. But that's all dependent on whether or not the cars ahead of us pit. So I decide to gamble. I go into the pit, first lap of the race. It will be a long stint on the medium compounds, but they're only 14 laps, so it shouldn't be too much of a struggle, but I will be vulnerable towards the end of the race when the other cars start to catch up to me. There are only 2 of us who have decided to go into the pit under these safety car conditions, so there's definitely room for redemption for us. But the downside is the AlphaTauri that pits behind me will be challenging me for the race lead, and my floor is damaged, so I will struggle with drag. I'm now in 21st place, but the advantage that I have is that no one ahead of me went into the pit under the safety car, so by the time the leaders go in to change their tires, I will be ahead. I'm not sure where the safety car came out considering no car retired, but Tsunoda's front wing must have been all over the track. The safety car is about to come in. Hopefully I'll be able to get a decent tow from the car ahead of me, so that I can make an overtake into turn 1. I get a good exit, but already the Aston Martin has pulled away from me. I'm struggling with straight line speed because of the damage.
Back up to racing speed, come on.
I will not be able to overtake Vettel from this far. I'm focused on Tsunoda, who is behind me by 2 tenths. He might make a move on me. I touch the curb and I go wide. Vettel and Norris are fighting with each other. There is contact, but they manage to recover. Tsunoda is now alongside me. He makes a move but cuts a corner. To be fair, I did not give him much space. He too now starts to pull away, but I'll try and throw one down the inside because of the long chain of cars. I manage to avoid Vettel. As I brake late, Tsunoda manages to stick it around the outside. I'll try and keep my tire alongside him. It doesn't work out. Maybe I'll have a chance to brake late, but we make contact and I push him off, but I leave space for him to come back. He's got more traction, but I have the better line and I'll hoard the inside of this corner so he doesn't come around me. I make my car as wide as possible, defend as hard as I possibly can, but I'm not sure how long I'll be able to keep this up for. I get a good exit out of the corner and I manage to keep it steady. It seems like I've kept him behind, but he decides to overtake. Inside line, he might actually get past me this time, but I use all the track and I have not locked up this time. I use the outside curb to gain traction and I'm ahead of him for now. I will be very vulnerable down the street, and yet DRS hasn't even been enabled yet, but I will keep the inside line and try and push him wide. This portion of the track isn't too difficult unless you smash the accelerator and lose a rear end, but he should not get past me here. I will brake early so that I can get a good turn into this corner, and of course a good exit, but I'm struggling to turn the car and I get a bit too much curb than I thought. As soon as I catch up to Vettel on the corners, he disappears down the straight. I went a bit wide round this corner, but I got into the throttle early. Tsunoda is already 2 tenths behind me and he's going to make a move. I will try and keep him on the dirty side of the track, but this straight is way too long. There's nothing much I can do, but apparently I have more top speed than him. We're rapidly approaching turn 1. Let's see who will be the first to brake. I am slamming the brakes and I nearly hit Vettel. Tsunoda hits the rear of Vettel and also hits my car. Tsunoda seems determined to break as many front wings as he can in a season. I get that you want to be in the record books, but those things cost millions. Vettel is getting further and further away from me on the straights, as Tsunoda tries to make a move, but it doesn't work. But I have to keep him behind because when the other cars ahead of us go and change their tires, we will be controlling the race. I am catching up to the Aston Martin round the corners. Downside is this is a low downforce track. I brake late, but I managed to get a good line out of the corner and I catch Vettel sleeping, but of course he's got that straight line speed so I cannot keep up. Again, I'll try to force a mistake pressing him, but I will brake early. I'm slamming on the brakes. I nearly hit him yet again. I got much closer this time, but even with DRS DRS, I don't think there's anything that I'll be able to do. I'm much closer to Vettel this time, but without the drag reduction system, there's nothing much I can do. At the moment, I'm just stuck behind him. But a load of drivers have just gone into the pit now. Just like that, I've gained positions. That's definitely good news as I'm under 1 second behind Vettel. Verstappen was in first place, but now I'm effectively the leader of the race, or at least of the pit stoppers. I've got to push now as the Ferrari and Red Bulls will come back at me and they'll have 5 laps fresher tires. There's no point in saving my tires for a fight at the end because I'll be so vulnerable with the amount of damage that I've got. Let's see if I can hook it around the corners and be close enough to make a move. I brake early but completely missed the apex of the corner, but my exit was not too bad, but I'm too far to be able to do anything. I'm even further behind than I was last lap on this corner. The time we reached turn 9 and 10, I'm 5 tenths, 6 tenths behind, so I'm still a bit too far back. Lap 7 starting, another bunch of cars go into the pit for their mandatory stop. It seems I was wrong and Perez was probably leading the race, followed by Leclerc. Behind Vettel by 4 tenths of a second, I do a bit of a fake move, but he leaves the door open, don't mind if I do. I catch him sleeping and I take the opportunity. I manage to slow down the car in time. I'll get DRS yet again because I passed the detection zone behind him. The rear wing being open should give me enough speed to keep ahead of him, and I don't think I have to worry about him anymore because he's headed into the pit lane after this. Stroll and Vettel both playing the long game. Drogovic is quite high up with the soft tires. He has somehow made them last half the race and stayed ahead of the medium runners that were at the back of the field. I have no idea what to expect or where he will be at the end of the race, hopefully in the points paying positions for our team. That will show that we made a good car. Verstappen is right behind Vettel and he has now gotten past him. He is behind me by exactly 1 second. This is not looking good for my team. I may be under attack on lap 8. After turn 3. My teammate has now gone into the pits. Latifi, who was ahead of him, caused a bit of a train, but have been freed into second place behind Stroll. Lance Stroll is actually leading a race. Soon it'll be me if I'm not overtaken by both Red Bulls. Verstappen leads Perez. Vettel decided to stay out for another lap. They momentarily switch positions. If they keep fighting, that'll be good for me because they'll be wasting time on each other. Max and Checo still at it again. Perez alongside him in turn 2 and manages to get ahead by turn 3. But it's not over yet. Perez has the DRS, but Verstappen has gotten a good slipstream and is now alongside. The Ferrari is catching up to them. Into turn 4, Verstappen has the ideal inside line, but Perez swings it round the outside and keeps the position. Max is not done pushing. Will there be a move after this chicane? Perez has gotten a good line round the corner. Verstappen does not go for a late move. Perez keeps his position, but Vettel is not as lucky as he's just been passed by a Ferrari, which is on fresh mediums. Vettel is on old mediums. Stroll is still far ahead, but I might inherit the race lead if the Red Bulls keep fighting with each other. Perez is within DRS range. I move to the left to avoid towing him down the straight, but he's got DRS. He might actually make a move into turn 10, but I've got it covered. He's right on my tail and his wing is alongside my rear wheel. I get onto the throttle and he remains behind. I might survive this lap, but I'm not sure if I'll remain in first place by turn 1. The Red Bulls are rapidly catching up to my Subaru. Verstappen trying to take the outside line round Perez. Perez has a sniff at first place but backs out. Verstappen nearly loses it out of the last turn and now he'll be overtaken by Carlos Sainz. Stroll has finally gone into the pit, so I'll be able to lead the race. Perez brakes late and tries to go around me. I will park my car like a bus, prevent him from passing. But this next straight will be very difficult because Perez has DRS. I will now defend the inside line of the corner. I'm not even going to waste time, I'll go straight to the right portion of the track. Early braking so that I don't lock up and lose a position. Perez tries to go around the outside, but I will make my car as wide as possible. He is not getting past me, at least not easily. I will defend like Esteban Ocon if I must, just to keep the first place. But to be honest, with the pace I have now, 5th place is looking like more of a reality. I lock up and miss the apex, but thankfully Checo was not ready to overtake at that point. I am now starting to create a DRS train. Hamilton has just joined the party and soon Russell and Alonso will be there. Perez is really pushing. He might make a move around the outside, but he locks up and through goes Sainz. Verstappen might also go past him. Sainz claims second place for the moment. Almost immediately Perez regains a position. This time he stays ahead. Verstappen is close to Sainz. He makes an overtake. Very close to Perez. I wonder if they'll make it round the corner. Perez tries to make a move on me. As Verstappen gets past Sainz, this time he does not lose traction. If anything, has gained traction because he's right behind Perez. Perez is more vulnerable than me at this particular point. Verstappen has DRS and so does Perez. It's a matter of who will brake first. Verstappen brakes first as Perez keeps his line. Max will have DRS on the straight. Hamilton is trying to overtake Sainz. Russell is not too far behind. Both Alpines in between the Mercedes. Perez is now right behind me. I might be overtaken overtaken by both Red Bulls. Perez makes the move. I will brake late and hope I make it round the corner. A bit of understeer, but I manage, and I leave him space to stay round the outside as I regain the position. Sainz now has the fastest lap. Everybody is pushing. This could be a 5 to 6 car fight for the lead. We'll keep the inside line so that Perez does not try an overtake. Push him wide round the corner and keep my position, but it will be a struggle to keep him behind on the next DRS points. But I might not even get the chance as he's already making his move. He's ahead, but he locks up. I retake the position. He might be under threat by Verstappen and Hamilton. Somehow he's able to recover from that. He's behind me with an open wing. I might not survive. He's now alongside and partially ahead, but I'll keep him on the outside and brake late and make my car as wide as I can. Hopefully this will bring Verstappen closer to Perez so that they can fight and I'll be able to get away. Now the Alpine and the second Mercedes have joined this train of cars. Back to the main straight, starting lap 11. I'm weaving on the straights to break Perez' toe, but that will not stop him from flying past me. I will try and brake late, have a look down the inside, a bit of contact, but none of our cars are damaged. We both recover, but Perez has a very poor line round the corner. I make it round the outside. I'll be able to open my rear wing this time. I nearly lose a car, but I save it. Even with my rear wing open, I am struggling to keep these cars behind me. Sainz is trying to overtake Hamilton, Alonso is trying to overtake Sainz, and Esteban Ocon has joined. Verstappen manages to overtake Perez. It's a neck-and-neck fight between these two as they jostle for position. Esteban Ocon overtaking the Mercedes of Russell. Perez manages to keep his position yet again. Alonso is now under attack by Esteban Ocon. It's now a 7-car fight for the lead. Checo is behind me by less than a tenth. He attempts to go round the outside, but I'll be Ricardo with the brakes. I keep my position, but I will struggle on the straight. A bit more of gentle weaving to distort the airflow of the cars behind me. It doesn't do much honestly, but I will do it anyway. Perez is rapidly approaching. I've taken the inside line so that I can force him to go round. 3 wide behind me as the Red Bull of Verstappen is being overtaken by the Ferrari and Mercedes. I keep the better line and force Perez to go wide. Still decides to remain alongside, but he's on that bad line again. Verstappen takes the same line Perez has. Perez nearly loses the rear and now he'll be vulnerable to the Ferrari. Carlos Sainz makes a move. He's on the inside of Perez. It's 3 wide yet again. Pins fighting behind. Let's see who will break first. Sainz takes a position away from Perez, but Perez sticks it round the outside and gains a traction. Sainz nearly spins. For the second time, Perez tries to overtake round the outside of turn 7, but he goes wide. Sainz follows him. And that horrible trajectory off the track, and they allow Max to get past. Because of all the fighting we're doing that is slowing us down, another 3 cars have joined the fight. Perez and Sainz manage to recover, but their Mercedes hot on their heels. Verstappen is now much closer than Perez ever was round this corner. Both Alpines manage to get past the Mercedes of Russell. Will most definitely be overtaken before the main straight, but I will defend as much as I can. Verstappen makes his overtake. I'll try and keep him on that side of the track. Then last minute I pull back to the left so that I can get a good exit. Alongside Verstappen, I've gotten a better line. Of course, the traction to continue pushing. I've now created a massive train of cars. Verstappen is being pursued by Perez. It's 3 wide as Sainz also joins in the fight. I am now the one that is being overtaken. I've got a Red Bull on one side, Ferrari on the other. Bit of contact with Perez. He tries to overtake me on my left again round turn 2. I have the better line and I keep ahead. Sainz is currently fighting with Hamilton. Half the cars are bunched up as if this has been a safety car. Checo right now is far behind, but he will still go for a move round the outside. I believe for the 2nd or 3rd time this race. I stick to the inside line and I get a good exit, keeping him behind. He is so close to me though that he might try to overtake round turn 7. He's already gone off track twice and he does it yet again. Perez misses his braking point and goes off track, and through goes Hamilton. There's nearly contact between the Red Bull and the Mercedes as Perez struggles for traction. But Perez manages to keep ahead and Sainz gets ahead of Hamilton. Side by side with Perez as we head to lap 14. Will I be able to hold on to first or will I lose it at the last minute? This battle has been so intense that we have an Alpine in the top 5. Perez pulls to the left exactly where I want him. I will brake late. Perez locks up yet again. Recovers well and doesn't let the Ferrari get past him. He takes the inside line of turn 2 and surprise, surprise, it does not work out. Sainz is hot on his heels and there's an Alpine overtaking Hamilton. Perez decides to brake late, but he has to back out of it as I completely close the door. His method of defending against the Ferrari was by attacking me, and I do like that. Alonso went to the right of Hamilton, taking the inside line for turn 4. Side by side, the Alpine and the Mercedes as they go around the corner. Verstappen had been overtaken and is trying to regain the positions. Lewis manages to defend Alonso's efforts and remains in P4. Get a bit too much of the curb and have to counter steer to avoid spinning. Perez is now alongside, but he collides with my car. What was he doing? It seemed he was eager and came with way too much speed and ended up destroying his own wing. He's giving Tsunoda a run for his money. The Ferrari catches up to us again. Perez locks up. At this point, the tires are completely destroyed. I highly doubt the round anymore. Sainz manages to keep his position. Somehow Perez is in third place with a broken wing. We're entering the final few meters of the race. Will I be able to hold this first place? Sainz is behind by over a second. Even with extra top speed, he will not be able to catch up with us. It's going to be the first win for Subaru Prodrive Racing. Perfect start to the first race of the season.
Absolutely fantastic. That is a brilliant result. Well done.
That's it then for another spectacular Grand Prix here in Bahrain and a real champions drive. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I think we'll chalk this one up to a deft touch on the brake pedal. That's allowed them to challenge down the inside into the braking zones, and ultimately, if you do that often enough, you end up winning the race. It was great to watch as well though, wasn't it? Forget strategy, forget tyre management. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrap?
Here comes your top three, making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One.